Hey everyone, Jay here. As always, I'm going to take you through some recommendations for ways in which you might adapt our CrossFit Linchpin workouts for kids. We've got Tuesday the 20th of September. We've got for time, 100 single unders, run 1 mile, 100 sit-ups, run 1 mile, finishing off with 100 single unders. Now, there's a couple of elements here that we're going to use exactly as prescribed for some of our children, but we're not going to do the same amount of volume. Obviously, we don't need that much volume with our children, just an awareness of the movements or possibly some exposure to some of those movements. I've got a little acronym here, ALAQR, I've kind of made it up myself, but as long as quality remains. So both of our workouts will be for as long as quality remains, keeping that quality throughout. As always, it's quality of movement, quality of focus, and quality of enjoyment. I've put in here in brackets a 9. I think 3 rounds is probably going to be a sort of good amount of time for the children to be working at the sort of upper end of that. Maybe even only 2 rounds for some children, certainly maybe 2 to 3 rounds for our less experienced children. So like I said, the volume of the work in the RX workout is something we're going to address here. And then I've got a slightly different take for some of the younger children. A stimulus is more appropriate for them. So for our more advanced children, we're hopefully going to be at a stage where they're skipping. Potentially they're able to do double unders, but it's equally important for them to maintain the ability to do single unders. I'm sure there's many sort of adult athletes out there who have lost the ability to do single unders because all they've done for so long is double unders. So like we get exposed to, it's important that the children are exposed to different types of skips as well. So single unders, double unders, crossover double unders, who knows, but some skips in there. Again, if you do have some of those more advanced children, but they're having a bit of trouble with that skipping, jumping jacks or some sort of bound over or hurdle hop, lateral hop would be an absolutely appropriate sort of modification there. We're going to run, but we're going to do 10-meter shuttle sprints. So they're going to work throughout this workout, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds rest. So they're going to be doing some skips, then some shuttle runs, and then some roving plank. So instead of that sort of repetitive sort of contraction of the midline of the abs, and then that sort of eccentric, repetitive eccentric way down from the sit-up, high volume of that can be quite taxing for the children. I know my son does other sports and he's made to do a lot of sit-ups. He certainly gets some DOMs in those abs. So here I've just got something that is going to be a bit more appropriate to what we want from our children really. We want them to be able to stabilise the midline. We want them to understand what a neutral lumbar spine looks like. So getting them to have the ability to maintain that position in a plank while moving is going to be a great modification there instead of those sit-ups. And then they're going to work through that. Skip, 40 seconds, rest 20, moving on to the next movement. Run, 40 seconds, rest, moving on to the next movement, roving plank. I think you'll find that they're going to find this workout quite taxing. So be mindful as long as quality remains. Our less experienced may not have been exposed to skipping yet. So we've got some jumping jacks, or alternatively, they could be doing some hurdle jumps if you want to move them off of the spot. You want to keep them moving. Sometimes our younger children don't like to be on the spot for too long. We like to keep them moving around. So you could set up some hurdles, or likewise. Jumping jacks are great for teaching children coordination though. So I really like that for our younger children. Again, we've got animal shuttles here. So instead of just having them running up and down, we're going to have some bear crawls, some kangaroo hops, some rabbit jumps, some crab walks, you name it. Any variation you can come up with, keeping those children guessing, stimulating their vestibular system, and working on developing sort of new awareness of their body really. And then a plank progression. It could be on the spot if they're still getting used to holding that position. It could be a sort of obstacle course they're going through. They're going in and out in that plank position. It could be a roving plank. It could be some shoulder taps on the spot. Any of those plank progressions that are suitable for the children you're working with there. So I'm going to finish with a game of 3 in a row. just like noughts and crosses or tic-tac-toe, except this time you can have 2 teams, each with a different colour cone. One person runs up relay style, puts it in a box, and then runs back, tags their partner, next person goes, and you've got to try and get 3 in a row, just like tic-tac-toe, or noughts and crosses, depending on where you're from, what terminology you use. I'm going to have a video showing you some plank options today, and some animal shuttle movements as well. Have fun with this workout, guys. Thanks very much. So we've got different animal shuttles that you might decide to cycle through, or just pick one for your workout. So we've got bear crawls, always a favourite. Great vestibular system stimulus, also some great coordination. We've got frog jumps, we've got some impact loading, also some coordination and accuracy in there as well, making sure they get the timing of the jump and their hands and feet leaving at the same time. And another one that focuses even more on some coordination is the sort of bunny hops, also some impact loading and a little vestibular stimulation in there as well. So this one's got all the benefits we're looking for in our CrossFit Kids sessions. Probably the most challenging is a crab walk going laterally, going sideways. The aim here is just, get the coordination going, but also keeping their hips high. It's really hard for them. And finally, elephant walks. My daughter insisted on doing this one. She's just done it recently at gymnastics. Very similar to a bear crawl, but keeping the legs as straight as possible as you walk. But for our plank variations, first is going to be just a static planks. So arms straight, hands underneath shoulders, straight line from the hip to the ankle. Same points of performance for the gorilla push-ups, except there's a shoulder tap, alternating arms, and then we've got our roving plank. So the same points of performance with the hands underneath the shoulders, maintaining that straight body as straight as possible, while also moving. So an added layer of complexity, some coordination to work on there.